Hello, all you beautiful stars. Welcome to Stars of the Morning Light. This is Courtney. I am the host, but I have now started a new thing. My buddy Gaza is here to help me out with some stuff. So we are just going to have a general conversation about all things esoteric, the mysteries of the universe, what have you, keeping it simple, keeping it basic. So more information can get out to you guys. I've been asking people to send me questions. Keep sending the emails with your questions. That'd be great. So Gaza is actually going to interview me. So thank you, Gaza. Welcome.
Hi there.
Hi. I told Gaza guys before the start, I said we're just going to have a conversation as if we were on the phone talking because
I
Gabe
am
and
on my
I,
phone.
you are on your phone, exactly. And I want to throw out there, Justin, buddy Justin, who I haven't talked to in a long time. If you watch this, I want us to do the same thing. Yeah, that's right. I'm calling you out. So there you go, guys.
Nice.
And it's Friday. We're recording this Friday night. How are you doing, sweetheart?
Oh, it's been a very long week and it just feels like it's never ending sometimes. But I'm always here to help a friend and maybe help out some of the people that are asking some of the questions because I'm somewhat basic myself also. Know a little bit, but always looking for new answers and solutions to today's, I don't know, thought of the day kind of thing, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. And I think we were talking the other night that with you, and it's not just you, other people, I forget, like when I'm in conversation, I forget, probably because of how your energy is, I forget that you don't know as much as I perceive that you do, you know?
No, it can be difficult to follow sometimes, but I mean I understand some of the basic concepts of how energy moves and works throughout the universe. That's because I've had a physics master for a master of physics as a dad that pretty much taught me about most of the stuff. Watching stuff like Carl Sagan and Doctor Who and Star Trek, the older Star Trek.
Yeah.
So I mean I understand how some of the scientific notions work. Now, some of the more metaphysical parts are it could be difficult for me to digest it at some points, and it takes some time to really see them sink in. But as time progressed, I've seen a lot of these quote unquote miracles happen amongst other people, and I've seen things happen in my own life that are just so mind blowing. It's like it can't be just coincidence. So it's brought me to the belief there are no real coincidences in life or
Oh, Gaza, you just froze. I do want to tell everybody, if you can hear me. Yeah, lately it's been a lot of technical issues for not just me, I'm hearing from a lot of people. So Geza just froze. That's fine. Um, I didn't know that about his dad. Geza and I have been friends for like over 15 years. I don't know why I didn't
some
know
of
that.
the stuff that you do.
Yeah. You froze for a minute, so then I started talking. So
That's what I did. See, friends helping each other out already.
yeah, we just keep going, man.
Yep.
I didn't know that about your dad. Why did I not know that?
Oh well,
Yeah, probably because we're talking
it's
about everything else under the sun.
well, families bring in a really they bring in an interesting thing into a person's life to help them to understand things later on. I mean, much as the conversation that you and I had earlier in the week about some of your upbringing, you've pretty much been steeped in a lot of this information already, and that's probably uh, it, it can make it somewhat of an Achilles heel at
Mm.
some point because like you were saying with me you feel the energy that I have but have to pull it back because of my actual knowledge of what and how things work in a metaphysical and spiritual sense. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah. And that happens with a lot of people. It's not just you.
Yeah.
Because everybody has such
Yeah.
great potential.
Oh, I know it.
Yeah. Um, wow. Do you have a question for me, Gaza? I'm curious.
Uh, well, I wrote down a couple of them. I mean, one of the first ones that I came up with was I know you've mentioned guides and guardians, spirits that usually walk with or direct a person in their spiritual path or life path, whether they know it or not. They're there. Maybe if you could explain, yeah, what they are basically, what their key, what their roles are.
Okay. That's it. So, wow. Guys, I want you to know I didn't really know the questions. Um, I mean, I kind of, you shot me a text, but I didn't really know what was going to happen. Um, let's put those into three parts, okay?
Okay,
So you have your guides. You said guards. That's because you received an Akashic reading from.
correct.
That's
Or I figured guardians, but okay.
that's kind of separate than guide.
Oh, okay,
And I love guardians. And then you have ancestors.
okay,
So there's three parts that are happening all the time. So let's start with guides. Guides are beings that are always around. They could be very close to you, or they're hanging out, or you can call on them. You know, they're more accessible. They're much more
okay,
accessible. And I'll kind of break that down. But then guardians have to do with your energy and your story. Like if I'm doing an Akashic reading for you, each one of us, each story, let's say it's a book, let's just imagine it's a book. Each one of us has at least two guardians watching over our book, meaning watching over our past, present, and future all the time, but they are not accessible to people like guides are. Okay. So, like in
okay,
that, okay, I'm trying to, and then you have ancestors. Ancestors is, I think a lot of people for some reason think that all of their ancestors are present for them to communicate with. That's not true because they might have come back and living another life.
got it.
So it's ancestors that might be what I refer to as half breeds that are still moving about doing stuff in other dimensions, that you can maybe access, and or ancestors who have not returned yet. You can access that if they're willing and wanting. Not everybody's ancestors are present in that way. And so I get a little, this is why I wanted to do this stuff, have these conversations, because so many people just kind of throw out these blanket statements or these blanket
Right.
ideas that it's not really accurate. I mean, um, even loved ones that you've had, contracts with, soul contracts with, maybe not so much ancestor, but even soul contracts. Let's say they passed and you try to connect with them, they might already be back. They might be a 5-year-old somewhere out there. You're not going to be able to do that. Um, you might be able to, but that's a whole nother ball game. We're not going to having to get into that right now. Keep into the basics. Keep it simple, Courtney. Um, so
I had you freeze up on me for a second there.
Okay, yeah, you've been kind of freezing in and out. Um,
Okay.
so that's like just identifying that there's three different aspects, and for some reason, a lot of people start to confuse those. They start throwing their ancestors into their guides.
I could be considered guilty of doing that because at moments in my life I kind of thought that ancestors or people from my extended family have been directing me for a certain purpose or reason. I mean, like I'd be doing something that would be inconsistent with being a good boy, and I figure like the wind was blowing at my face because they were upset with me at that moment. Um, I, little signs like this. I mean, call me a little bit off the wall and off my rocker, but that's just where my head would go at times. Um, and just to kind of back up with what's going on with the freezing, it is what the 4th of November, and there's
Mhm.
just been a lot of electromagnetic interference going on. I mean, I don't know if anyone else has noticed it, but screens on phones have been going sideways, thermostats have been going a little nuts. So bear with us for the freezing of the video as you watch it.
Yeah, yeah, they're fine.
Um,
Giza,
it, it it's I dig it.
I do
Go
want
ahead.
to say, when people confuse things like that, it is because of that. I mean, that could have been easily, yeah, your ancestors saying, "Hey, shape up," or your ancestors wanting to share information with you or show you love and support. And I do also want to say, as far as ancestors, it does not necessarily need to be of this current life. It could be an ancestor of past lives that is still helping and caring for you now. I'll give an example. The first,
I,
what
I
I,
never I never thought of it that way, but couldn't it also be future ones as well?
yeah, yeah,
Because time really is. I mean, it's something that us as humans have kind of formulated. But I mean, I guess there's a line, but I would think that line could be probably manipulated in some way.
yeah. I had a lot of technical issues with my last toast revealed stuff. And it was unfortunate because it was all about starting the 10 tablet 8 or tablet 10, I'm sorry, which is all about time. And I really started to try to get into it, and the computer was just having too many issues. So yeah, our concept is not fully accurate, linear wise, but time does exist. So
Right.
um it could be people you're connected to in the future that are trying to help, and you would put that in the category of ancestors or soul contracts. And so you would put that in that category because they're trying to be like, hey, I need you to get to this spot in life, or this goal, because it's going to help us meet up next time. um or
Got it.
like I said, my first who I misinterpreted as a child as a guide was actually a young Hispanic man that I lived many, many, many lives ago with. But he came to me in what was his last life he lived here. But we were connected from, I mean, like Mayan time period, we were connected. And when we can start wrapping our heads around stuff like that, then we can start realizing how connected we are to each other, how truly connected we are.
And
Future.
I would think that might have to do with I just I lost my train of thought. Sorry.
It's okay. You're freezing in and out anyway.
Oh, okay. I keep hearing an echo. Sorry. Uh, it. I'll go on to another question.
Well, wait, let me hold on, Gaza. Let me go back to guides then, legitimate guides,
Okay.
because that was all about ancestors.
Oh, all right.
Let me go back to guides.
So guides,
Yeah,
the guides.
I'm trying to just establish that there's a difference between ancestors trying to help you, past, present, future, soul contract ancestors, guardians of your stories, of your story, your continuous lives, vastly different, very hard to connect with, and then guides who are much more accessible. Your guides can be beings from
And we're
other.
back.
Did you hear any of that?
Not a damn thing.
Awesome. Cool. You didn't really miss much, man. Um,
Darn.
so guides though can be they're usually beings from other realms,
Dimensions,
dimensions, realms, galactic, what have you,
time periods.
time periods, yeah, all of that. They are, and the number can range all over the place with those for people. Um, most people can at least come to meet 2 to 3 of them in their life, but those are usually, because ancestors are another thing, those
Right.
are usually beings from some other space and time
Got it.
that are trying to help you evolve to what we need to do. So that's that. See, are we noticing the differences as he freezes?
Between pauses, yes. Uh-huh. Am I still frozen?
No, you're talking now. You know what, Gaza?
Awesome.
This is gonna air Saturday night. So I hope everybody's just having a good old time and just, laughing
Look
and
at these two maniacs. Awesome. Oh man. It's never a dull moment whenever you get two people trying to have a conversation and the universe is trying to say, what the hell are you guys doing? Uh you know, we kind of got on this we kind of got on this track to begin with, just because, like I said, I'm going to reiterate again, because I'm new to all of this. I mean, let me just delve into a little bit of what I've been going through the last few weeks. Okay. Um, myself, I've taken 2 Reiki classes. I'm a Reiki 3 actually, and I've taken them subsequently 1 year at a time per class. The first time I took the class, a lot of things changed in my life. This last time I took a class, a whole bunch of different things changed in my life. And with my recent situation, I wanted to delve into doing more Reiki and more helping people, and actually channeling, because I've learned that I'm an empath. I can feel the feelings and get the energy of not just a room, but of what other few people are feeling and doing. That I wanted to start to work on this and bring it to help other people out. Um, my history, my past is basically trade work, carpenter, machine builder, work on motorcycles. The quote unquote man's man kind of work. For me to go into what I'm looking at now is completely 180-degree turn of what I would do in the past. In recent weeks, I went to go to a Reiki share to try to practice Reiki. In doing that, I ended up going into a metaphysical class, which I had no idea I was going into. That's just one instance. Also, recently, I went into a drum circle where I wasn't really expecting too much. It was just part of something that I've experienced in the past, and a little bit further past, and I ended up getting invited into a sweat lodge. Well, now these small little things that happen in my time in my life have turned into going down the path that my guardians or guides have brought me into, and also I'm gathering after having Akashic reading from Courtney that my ancestors are also wanting me to go towards as well. Now, me being receptive to that is one of the key things, and I ask a lot of the questions of Courtney because she's one of the foremost people that come to mind on spiritual matters. The whole question and answer thing was because I know it can be difficult to palate a lot of the things that are being said by spiritual leaders, metaphysical practitioners, and even a lot of like body workers, for instance, therapists and whatnot. So this forum was basically to make it easier for them. Does that help?
Yeah, it helps. I mean, I that is why we both kind of I approached you with my concern about what you just said. Like
Right.
different leaders, practitioners, a lot of messages out there that are getting very confused. And it's because we society in every kind of renaissance or, um, awakening, whatever we want to say.
Evolution or revolution.
Yeah, right. There you go. Things things get lost, and then we become very lackadaisical with our terms. We become very we're interchange like how I said, so many people interchange their ancestors with their guides. It is definitely not the same thing. And so I was
Right.
talking to Gaze about, hey, give me some questions so we can break it down to people because like you had said at the beginning, Gaza, I mean, I grew up with this stuff. I had my mom talking to me about the difference between psychic and medium and guides and ancestor. All of that I mean, I remember being 5 years old. I was being taught this stuff.
And there are different definitions to all of those things that you just described.
Yes. Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
you know, every most people have potential to be psychics. I mean, everybody does. You can develop that gift. But psychic is not the same practice as being a medium. Could they possibly
Difference being
skill sets and choice, really? I mean, I grew up
okay.
being able to definitely be a medium, definitely, and that's actually what I focused on when I was like a child in teen years, right? Um, but then I get to my 20s, I'm in college, I'm, you know, partying, I'm this, I'm that. It became very apparent to me that I was like, yeah, I don't want to deal with spirits. I don't, or, ghosts, dead people. I don't want to deal with that.
And this is what a medium does is basically deals with
Yes.
spirits that are
They,
on another plane.
yes. And the thing is, if they know you're a medium, they will come to you. So, I mean, I could be at a party and then all of a sudden it's like,
Got it.
damn, there's a lot of people here. Oh, no, no, they're just here for me. And so,
Courtney the phone booth. Got it.
yes, right. So it became, I'm not doing this. I shut it down.
Sure.
Um, I actually shut everything down for a while because I had to do life.
I imagine
Um,
it gets very loud having these people coming to you all the time.
yeah, and I do want to express too, a lot of mediums, unfortunately, no one has taught them that they can shut it down. You can open up your crown, you can bring your crown down. It's putting on a hat, taking a hat off. You
Okay.
can open your third eye, you can close your third eye. A lot of people don't know that, and they haven't been taught how to do it.
So
So,
there's practices in governing your gifts, basically.
yeah, and what it really boils down to is understanding that you, the whole you, your conscious self is bigger and stronger than your actual gifts. Too many people
Interesting.
allow their gifts to rule them. And I've seen too many people, their lives are destroyed because they think that, oh, there's nothing I can do about it. I know plenty of mediums that pretty much can't function in normal society. They just can't.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, because they're always being bombarded.
Yeah.
I mean, everywhere you go, there's dead people, trust me. Everywhere. So they're always being bombarded. They can't hold a conversation with you while there's 5 other people trying to talk to them. So, but they don't know, shut it down. Because a lot of people, when they start actually trying to develop their gifts or tap into their gifts or understand their gifts more, they, it's cool, it's fun until you got years
So it's not
behind.
cool or fun anymore.
Yeah, until it's not cool or fun anymore. Right. And so
Well,
we have to acknowledge that our whole self, our conscious that has lived many lives over and over again, is vastly more powerful than your gift. So you tell your gift, not right now.
got
And there are techniques, there are skills, and sometimes it comes down to the individual, but it really is making that conscious choice. Activation on
which it
or
kind
activation off.
of, which it's got it. Which it's kind of like that with almost everything. How much do I really want to be a part of what's going on and what's going on in front of me? Do I want to contribute to it, or do I not want to? And being able to have that quote unquote boundary to just say, I've had enough right now, take it easy. That could be difficult for, well, if me was one of them. I used to fall in that same realm. And if you start bringing ritual sense or it being a medium, it's got to be even more so because it's always someone tapping on your shoulder. And like you said, there's different exercises that you can limit that interaction.
Yeah. And same with
Okay.
psychic abilities too. I mean, so psychic, it's like an umbrella. There's so many categories to that. Um,
Interesting.
oh yeah. I mean, telepathy is a part of psychic ability. There's people that just have that. There's people that
Hmm.
um they're mostly reading energy, but you got your fortune tellers. Here's ones that can see in the past. When I was a child, um, if I touched you, I could see stuff in your past. I, but once again, I shut that down by my 20s because I didn't want everybody that I touched that I could see stuff. Um,
Right.
so there's a lot of layers to psychic, a lot. And the thing is, um, most of them dabble in different areas. When I personally, this is just my opinion, it is best to choose. Okay, am I going to just work on telepathy? Am I going to use my psychic abilities to be like a psychic physician, like see within the body and see where it needs healing? Am I going to use it to be able to look into somebody's past so I can help them heal the hardest stuff? It's
And and you and I have talked about that as well, because like I mentioned, there's a direction that I'd like to go in, and you pretty much stated to me that it's best to concentrate on one or two things versus an entire
right.
cornucopia of it.
Yeah. And with psychic, it's also how does it come to you? Sight, sound, feeling, um,
Smell.
smell. Mediums have the smell that thing big time, just so you know. Um,
Yeah, I just reheard this metaphysical thing too, and it was just like, oh, you can smell spirits. I was like, what?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, and it's what you choose to do with it. I mean, if you have the gift of sight and you know how powerful you are, yeah, you can clean out houses of negative. I don't suggest that for people out there right now because we're doing the basics here, but you can.
Right.
Especially if you have the gift of sight like that. If you have, I will tell you, people that ride very high on intuition, like my husband, he is a double cancer. And cancers are referred to as the sponges of the universe. They just soak up all of the energy. So his intuition is insanely high. It, when someone's like that, intuition and psychic abilities are very closely related. So somebody can activate more of their intuition use and form that into their psychic ability. That is psychic based off of feeling. Then it becomes more of a knower. I'm working with a woman that's kind of where what she's doing right now. And she's it's changing her, but she's putting in the work and she's doing a great job. Um, so psychic has a lot.
In what way?
Go ahead, honey. What?
In what way is it helping this person to, I guess, to tune in to their abilities because of, well, basically, how's it helping this person to tune into their abilities would be the short and question.
Well, like in everyday life, because she's in a program of mine right now. Like in everyday life, let's say you're in a business meeting, and she would be. She works for a
Uh-huh.
very big organization, let's say.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
and let's say things are heated or nobody really knows what's going on. She can now, it's so wonderful to watch this. She can ask her intuition to present to her how to see things differently. And I refer to it as her putting on her other glasses.
Okay.
Okay. I'm not going to go into the whole teaching, but
No.
take your glasses off, ask your intuition to see what these people are really saying. See what's really happening here.
So observing it from a different perspective.
Yes. Yes. And because she's actually a Cancer Pisces, all that water, her intuition is very high. So she has learned how to tap into her intuition when she needs to, put on her new glasses and sit there and go, "Okay, I see what's happening here. Now I can either help or I will pull
And then
back."
be able to deal with the situation in a more calm and
Yes,
different manner, I
yes.
imagine.
And then, when the meeting's done, you can shut it down, take off your glasses and go do your job. That's the type of thing that people are not actually being trained in, that we don't have to walk around with our crowns open all the time. Why would you want to do that in the first place? I mean, you can't hold conversations like that. You can't, you know. And
Well,
there's also
when you say your crowns, it's basically not like not having your, I don't want to say armor, but you're not open to the energy of everything around you.
right.
Would that be a better way of
Yeah.
saying it? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I don't just open my third eye and walk through Walmart with it open. Hell no. You see what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
getting that much information is too much.
I don't open my crown and do that either. Exactly. Hell no. Why would I do that to myself? You know? And that's
Oh,
why,
well, I
but the
guess if you
problem
want to practice, that's one way to pick it up, but after a while it gets to be too much and
you have to live life.
yeah.
You have to go to work. You have to drive your car. You have to, there's people that if they develop their psychic abilities well enough, um, they're going to start seeing cars on the road that are not on the road
I
unless
hate
they
when that
shut their,
happens.
yeah, right. Or I swear there's a stop sign there. You're just you're seeing things from a different dimension because of your ability.
Well, I
Well,
don't know. They can help me driving sometimes too, because I'll get the intuition of what a person's going to do without them before they even do it.
yeah, but intuition is not the same as like having
It
your crown
helps.
open or your third eye. No. And
True,
having
true.
your psychic ability still present, but not in the forefront is always going to be the case. Like if your gift is mediumship.
Like it's a background program that's running while you're
Yes,
moving on through
right.
life.
If your gift is mediumship or telepathy or any of it, it's going to be present. But it's our choice what our focus is. So yeah, is my psychic stuff kind of always right there? So if I need to, yep, activation on as I'm having a conversation with somebody, yeah.
Right.
But do I let it drive my car? No. But if it needs to tell me, hey, take a different route, I'll listen.
So you would say that this would having said abilities would be something of like attention span, being aware of what's going on around at one time or another. So an awareness is probably a better way of putting it, correct?
Yeah, definitely. I like that. I like that. And that's the thing is most people, I think right now we're in a time that people are becoming aware that they might have some stuff going on with them and giving themselves the allowance to explore, which is
Okay.
beautiful and wonderful.
What
I'm
we
just,
what would you say are some what would you say are some telltale signs of a person who is becoming aware but not sure of it?
mm,
I know it can be different for everybody, but maybe I don't want to say a generic term that seems kind of cheap, but
mm.
I can't think of the
No,
verbiage.
yeah, I get what you're saying. It would be a case by case basis, and that would be,
Right.
um, honestly, that's kind of part of what I refer to as the mind trap as well. So many people talk about the soul trap. It's really just a mind trap. Um,
Which could be a fear of, oh, I might be picking up on this thing, but I'm not going to pay attention to it because I fear it or something of that nature.
and questioning ourselves. I mean, um, before we even get to fears, really, like there's only people think they fear a lot of stuff, but there's only a few categories that fear is in.
True.
And right. But doubt can play the entire chessboard. Doubt can doubt can mess up everything. So is there, I believe, an element of fear,
It
especially
can play both sides.
yes. Um, so is there probably an element of fear, especially, yes, if there's been different kind of programming there as to don't do any of this stuff, you're gonna go to hell or whatever it may be, or the fear of the unknown, depending on what is going on, right? Um,
I think you hit the nail on the head there, the fear of the unknown part.
yeah, and that usually wraps into people's own fear of who will I be and what does that mean for me? And like, how powerful am I? Am I even a good person enough to have these gifts? Do I deserve this? Which people ask themselves that question way too much. Yes, you deserve it. If you have it, you deserve it. Done. I, yeah, I know you. Yeah, dude.
I would be one of those people.
Yeah. So now a sign of that, though, like physical communication or whatever tangible signs of that, would be 1 minute that
Yeah.
person's rocking and rolling, and it's like, whoa. look at them go, and then the next moment 3 steps back, and they're like, "Oh, no, no, no. I don't know if that was really me talking there. I don't know if I really did that. I'm not sure." Just doubt, 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 doubt.
Got it.
Physically, um, probably not so much like physical unless you were trying to practice tangible physical things, like working with the elements or um
Crystal work,
yeah, crystal work, that kind of thing. If you were attempting to do that and something were to happen,
which is a whole nother thing.
yeah, right.
Hmm.
So that for people just now becoming aware of their gifts, it really does end up boiling down to doubt, and then just those little bit of fears of pockets of more of, what does this mean for my future self? What does this mean about me? How much is this
How much of my life is going to change now that I realize these things?
right? And so that really, I
The
mean,
doubt.
yeah, and that can go. That's why all of this too. I get a little cautious when I'll be around people and they're talking about, oh, I've done this or I'm doing this or I'm doing that, when I know they have not put the time, energy, and research into things to have a foundation. They're just
Hmm.
going out there willy nilly and saying, oh, I heard I can do this, or I'm going to try this. Because there could be disappointment there, there could be backlash there. There could be a lot of things that go on instead of going, okay, I think I have this gift. And I will also tell you, with most gifts, even if you don't have them, you are able to develop them. But that takes training and studying and practicing. Please practice. Um,
So you would say that some people are practicing with the chemistry set without understanding how the chemistry works.
yes, some people call it sloppy magic. I just call it ignorance. Like, I seriously do,
Uh,
because it is. And unfortunately, there's a lot of that happens. And it's because the leaders, the teachers out there are just making programs and throwing them out there on the internet to make money. And then these beloved beings are thinking that they're able to just jump in and do all this stuff. And
well,
so,
it's hard to say where some people's heart are put in place, you know.
well, and it's,
But
and,
that
I'm a little
we
sore.
live in a time we do live in a time that does say exactly that, though, is that, you know, I need to make a buck, so I know this. I'm going to pass it on as knowledge, without the wisdom, and someone will bite and try to grasp the knowledge, and then they're in the middle of practicing something that they don't really understand.
Here's an example, and I guess I'm a little sore on this topic, so it might come
Uh-oh.
out bad. Yeah, I mean, I got issues. People need to have responsibility with their gifts and their talents, and if they're teachers or putting something out there, they need to have responsibility with it. I do have issues.
Sure.
Like, here's an example. Gaza, if you wanted to right now, you could Google or YouTube, you could just plug in meditation to open my third eye, to open the third eye. And I can guarantee
Yes.
you there'd be tons of them you could choose from. Tons of.
Y- yes, definitely.
So I'm just a generic person out there and I just learned, oh, there's something called your third eye, right? Um,
Right.
okay, now I'm gonna Google it. And now there's gonna be all these meditations I can choose from. I'm gonna do maybe a couple, didn't really work, but then all of a sudden that like fourth one, bam, something breaks. The levee breaks, the eye is open, and that person has no idea how to handle it.
Right.
That's the problem we have in today's society.
Uh, gotcha.
They have no idea how to handle what's going on there. They have no idea how to close it. They have no idea what's happening. Same with so I am an Akashic Records practitioner teacher. There are times, Giza, that I will go to the records and I will see metaphorically, okay, like people trying to get in. And of course, the records are on lockdown, guys. I mean, you really do have to practice getting there and working with the beings that are there. It's not just
So you
anybody.
basically you need credentials, so you kind of
Yes.
need a library card.
Yeah, you need a library card. And yeah, you gotta pay your fees and dues. Trust me, you gotta
Mm,
practice.
yeah,
You gotta, they will cleanse a whole lot of what goes on in our human psyche and ego out before, because you can't enter with it. It doesn't exist there.
mm,
Like judgment, ego, none of that actually exists there. So the point of this is there's times that I know for a fact people are just Googling or on YouTube Akashic Records meditation, and they're trying to get in. And it's very disrespectful to the records. I mean, it is a respectful place. You got to pay your dues. You got to get your library card type thing.
right.
Um,
You gotta get to know the people
yeah, yeah, and you have to be
or the
cleansed of,
spirits in this matter. Either way, it's
yeah, you have to be cleansed of so much. So not, yeah, not just everybody just gets on in there and it's, do they want all of us to go to them? Yes, but it does take training, and it takes a whole lot of practice. So it's stuff like that that there's a lot of people, or opening your crown, um
which I've
or
heard stories.
yes, that
And if a person is unlearned on how to do such a thing, I would beg for them to read a little bit about how chakras work, how a lot of uh, the masters have done this as well. Learn from the masters and gain their wisdom, and then seek out the people who are practicing that nowadays versus doing it yourself, because that if you're not prepared for it, it could be bad.
it can be really bad. It really can. Um, tomorrow, actually, I have a client coming tomorrow. It's a very long, we're finishing up a very long workshop. Um, that because she's been working with me for a very long time, and the transformation's amazing. I am going to induce a Kundalini awakening and also open her crown. But she's not leaving my house until I know that crown is down, that she can do this. And there's tons of conversation, tons of teaching, tons of practicing. And also, she's got at least now close to a year of a foundation. So, and like I said, she's not going to leave my house until I know she can open it when she needs it, close it when she needs it, or needs to, you
And
know?
you bring up the main point right there, is that just like any other practice, just like anything that someone's learned, there are no quick ways to do these things. I mean, whether it's of a spiritual sense, a physical sense, or even a mental sense, all of this stuff takes work and time. There is no quick fix for anything in this world, and as much as we're led to believe that on well in our timeline right now, it's impossible. Like you just mentioned, YouTube has thousands of different mantras and meditations that you can do in order to do, say, and learn different things. But unless you're actually in it and physically working with another person and doing these things, it's Bruce Lee didn't become a master by basically just watching YouTube
Yeah.
YouTube channels or just by reading books. He actually practiced with a lot of different people, and he took his teachings and brought them to other people.
Right.
He developed his own sense and his own form by learning from masters.
Right. And and here's the thing too is this is what's tricky. This is why it's tricky, Case. Is that we as humans, we all have the potential to, yes, if we want to, we can create, we can command, we can do whatever we want in that moment. We literally do have that power. But believing, knowing without doubt that we do have that power takes a whole long time of practicing, learning, studying, being with masters. That's the true difference, is because you end up developing the knowing. And so we then can do really whatever we want. But through the process of really stripping away the fear, stripping away the doubt, stripping away the negativity, stripping away all the mind trap stuff that we tell ourselves, comes from the meditations, the working with masters, the studying, the practicing, the all of it. And then that is becoming a master yourself. So it's
Yes.
yeah. So we all have that potential. But yes, in today's world, people want to jump from not even student. I don't even know if they've registered yet. They want to, you know what I mean? Like they want to jump right from where they are to master. And it's going to fail every time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For free.
For free. Yes, for free. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, because
Yes.
what basically what you said and what I've learned throughout time is it takes three basic things. It takes time, it takes practice, and it takes as much as people don't want to say it, it takes money to
It
actually
takes
learn these things because people's time is worth something. There's some a master's worth is going to hold it to is going to hold it to you for whether it's money or groceries or something. There's a transfer. You
there
get to
has to
teach me
be.
something. Let me return that.
Now I will tell you, so when I was growing up, my parents knew how powerful I was. And they were coming out of the 70s and they actually were I got a lot of lectures growing up to like don't start a cult, Courtney. Like don't be a cult leader, Courtney. Which I understand. And I'm not a cult leader, never would be. Um, but I did get a lot of lectures because they just knew who I was, personality. And my mom did all of my astrology chart because that's what she did. And it's in there. I mean, I have the potential. um, I'm glad I keep myself, right sized and right, you know, wise
I'm
enough.
sure you've had help along the way, Courtney.
Yes, I'm sure I have. Yes, Gaza.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
but the thing is they also, though, at the same time, taught me, probably to keep me away from anything dangerous, to never ask for money for my services, that it would always be free. Well, then, that's how I lived most of my life in my 20s. I mean, I did a whole bunch of everything just for free because that's what I was taught. Um, but then now in my 40s, when it's like, no, 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 my soul can't do anything else. Like this literally cannot be anything else that I do. I've tried it all from janitor, bus driver, teacher, counselor. I've done it all, right? And I keep doing it all because this is the only thing my soul will do, you know?
Right.
Well, then, okay. Oh, shoot. How do you live? It took me 3 years to wrap my head around the energy exchange of my teaching and then receiving donations, gifts, money from you. It took 3 years for me to let go of the programming my parents put me through, saying, don't ever receive anything for this.
Yes.
because it started, like I said, very young. They started with that to release that programming and then accept asking for money. Um, but that's my journey with it. The problem we have
Not everyone can be that fortunate, and you're a very fortunate person to have been able to go through that. And like you said, within the past 3 years of bringing yourself to a point of honoring yourself
Mhm.
and taking what you love so much, and that's helping other people, and teaching them the things that you know, it can be very humbling. And I'm sure at some moments it was like, I really don't want to charge people to do this stuff.
Yeah,
But at the same time, there has to be, like you said, an exchange of energies in one way, shape, or form.
yeah, definitely. And and I work a lot on the barter system. I do this, I do that, as I talk about on this show. But what my one of my things about this stuff is there's a lot out there right now that's just cookie cutter program, um, like Akashic programs or um, whatever the certificate program may be. And it's very
Hmm.
cookie cutter, meaning it's just written out and everybody can access this. And it's a lot of money. These poor people are paying thousands and thousands of dollars to receive this certificate and get the training. And then at the end of those courses, it's explained to them, okay, now you go out and be a practitioner and you charge your people $200 to see. So you can make your money back and start a career. So
Yeah,
I
which is something both you and I have been a story that you and I can share pretty much. We both heard the same story, so yeah, it's one of the things that can be done.
yes, and it becomes then more of like a pyramid concept, not my kind of pyramid, but you know what I mean, the pyramid kind of concept.
Right.
Um, and then you have a bunch of practitioners out there that they literally just went through training, don't really have the practice or the skills yet, or the understanding and knowledge. So, but they're going to charge $200, and that to me, it causes
Ruffles
some.
in your it ruffles your feathers, doesn't it?
It does, because if it wasn't for stuff like that, I wouldn't have to be doing videos like this.
Fair,
The
fair.
people are not being served. It's not the money that I'm paying attention to. It's that the people are actually not being served to the up to the level that they could be.
Well, then here's a question for you. What is your main objective and goal to releasing the YouTube videos that you release?
My my YouTube,
What's your
what's
main
my goal?
objective and goal? Hmm.
To spread knowledge, to spread wisdom, to help people ascend. Um, I mean, yeah, I really do want people to acknowledge that they have a God spark within them that you can light it up and then becomes a flame. And once you know that divine flame, as all ancient people or texts, many of them talk about it, even great prophets and saints and Manly P. Halls and all of them, once they can really truly tap into that, then you are the master. Then
And
you
that's
won't need me anymore. You don't need me
and
anymore.
that's
That's
and
what I
it's just,
want,
we'll all walk hand in hand in that one, because every single one of us has a different type of skill that we can hone in on and practice. Would that be correct?
We do, but when I'm talking about, like,
Go dark.
it went dark. You are having weird issues, yeah. No, Gaza, you have no skill. Darkness. That's what that was right.
Guess
I was
I
joking.
guess not.
That's the thing though, is
Spiritual kindergarten.
Having a skill, having an ability, and learning how to develop and hone that is not the same as tapping into your flame, your divine flame within. It's not the same thing. Can it help you? Is it a great tool for you? Hell yeah. So is your body. So is all of the writings in the world, all the scriptures and writings in the world, all the tablets, tools. But once you really, I mean, really know your flame, there is no fear, there is no doubt. You are escaping the mind trap, the soul trap, the trap of space and time, any of it. You're not a part of that's how we get the ascended masters. So for me, like when I say my goal is to help people understand that and really start experiencing it and knowing that it is the concept like in the Bible, which I use this a lot because it's a generic concept that most people understand or heard. You know, when he took two fish,
The most widespread, yeah.
yeah, most widespread. There you go. Um, he took two fish and fed that 5,000 because he was an ascended master. He was trying to teach us that, okay, you see two fish. I'm going to see as many fish as I want to, as I need to feed these people. I'm going to look
Right.
at this fish and I'm going to multiply it into everyone gets a fish. And we have this same ability. Oh my gosh, we have the same abilities. If anybody has zoned out right now, this is when you need to listen. You have the same abilities, but it takes tapping into that flame and allowing that flame to then start guiding you with learning, understanding, gaining, attaining the wisdom. And that's my that's my agenda. If everybody's got an agenda, if everybody's got, a reason, a cause, that's mine. Is to really
So
help.
yours is basically to set people on a path to their own enlightenment.
Yes, their mastery presence.
Right.
You are an ascended master. All of us are masters everywhere, but yet we're holding ourselves
I'm
back.
working on it. I'm working on it. I I'm still in spiritual kindergarten here, so yeah.
I know, I know. No, that's beautiful. You know what? That's the thing, though, is for some reason we still also judge ourselves based on where someone else is at.
Yeah, I should be doing better than this person, or I should be at a higher level than this person, where actually I'm supposed to be where I'm at.
Yeah, I don't really understand that because, um,
Humility.
yeah, it's
A lack of humility but well, I'm just speaking from my own point of view. A lack of humility brings me to a point where it makes it difficult for me to accept the fact that I might not be as far along as else, but my potential is that later on I can be.
okay.
No?
Yeah, yeah. No, I get that,
Okay.
and I'm happy that you at least hold on to your potential and the fact that you know that it is possible. But like we talked
Well,
before,
I have proof of that. I used to suck at baseball when I was a little kid. T-ball, absolutely terrible. By the time I got to 16 years old, taking a state championship and being one of the MVPs of a team
yeah.
that came out of freaking nowhere, I think that said enough to me at that point in time where just about anything is possible. And I'm sure other people have had similar stories to that. Maybe it's difficult to conceive, but I believe that potential is there for just about anybody.
Do you know that that's what miracle means? The word
Potential?
miracle, yeah, it means the belief in the potentiality of all things.
Ah.
That's what miracle is. Oh, Kesa, making my heart feel good. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, so we all are actually miracles walking around because we all have the grand potential to, if we need to, we don't no one lacks, no one is hungry because we all take two fish and turn it into 5,000.
Yes,
That's the end game for me. That's
yes.
the end game. So, uh, yeah, do I have an agenda? Yeah, that's my end game. Is that a huge end game? Yeah. But I take it on, you know, I take it on. I don't know what to say other than that. I'll take it on. And it's not just
Not on faith,
yeah, it's not just me. What?
on
On faith?
faith that it's possible. Yeah,
Yeah, it's all see, and the thing for me is it's not even faith that is possible. For me, it is. And that's the
gotcha.
difference. That's when if you actually study and practice and this, that's the true different areas that people are in. They start out in fear and doubt, then they move into a little bit of hope, then they move into possible belief of possibility, and then they move into faith because there's a little bit of knowing there, a little bit of you know uh, experience there, and they keep going, and you can hit it is. That's why, once again, I use the Bible a lot to reference things because it is um, the most accessible. People just know it more. But like when
In this part of the world, right?
you can say when he says, yes, in this part of the world, you can say when he gets killed on the cross and he says, it's finished. That doesn't just mean it's finished, as in, okay, now I'm dead. That meant as how I'm saying it is, period. Like, he knew more of what was happening there than anybody else.
Yeah,
So, right.
I would say so.
And many of them have all said different things in relation to that. It is. And, but it takes going through those different stages of evolution of your belief and knowing and gaining wisdom. And, like I said over and over again, knowledge is one part of it. We got you can read all you want. You can read all you want. And I suggest you do. Thank you. You can read all you want, but then you have to add experience. Like with Reiki, you have to put your hands on yourself. You have to put your hands on somebody else. You have to experience. You have to sit in the Reiki energy, for many a times over. You have to gain experience. So knowledge plus experience equals understanding. The deeper or higher we go in our understanding, so more knowledge, more experience, more knowledge, more experience, more understanding, that is how we attain wisdom. So it has to, all those components have to be there. And each like little rung of different categories or steps that we evolve from in our hope, faith,
Experiences.
are based on experience and knowledge, our understanding. And the further you go in your understanding, the more you are actually gaining wisdom to finally get to it is. I am the master. That is where you get to your I am presence. And you really understand the oneness, the all is energy. That's where you can get to. But it takes a lot. I mean, you got to experience a lot. That's why you practice. That's why you study. That's why you communicate with others. Learn from them. That's why you do what you do. And it takes time. And the effort has to be there, because do we all have that potential? Hell yeah, no doubt about it. I have no doubt about that. So that's, and that's why they have that saying too, also, Gaza. You know, walk a mile in someone else's shoes, because we can think
Yeah.
we know all about their situation, or their economic situation, or their social situation, or their political situation, whatever the situation might be. We can think that, but we are possibly lacking the experience. Or our experience was just a little bit different than theirs, which skews our viewpoint.
Yeah.
Therefore, we don't ever have the full understanding as to what someone else is really going
Or has gone through,
or
yes.
has gone through. That's where
Sure, sure.
that saying comes from, of like, and that's why people are still get very offended at a lot of things, is because somebody with a lot of knowledge might say
People get
something.
offended for a lot of
Yeah, I
stupid shit
know.
right now. So
Yeah.
that's a whole different rabbit hole.
But right, but that's where it all comes from. Is somebody will say something who's lacking the experience in it. So then the other person that feels like they have a lot of experience will get offended, that kind of thing. Because that equation really does equal understanding. So the more we have knowledge plus experience, we gain the understanding. And we need to do that in all facets, not just esoteric. I mean, we need to do that in social and all sorts of facets. I mean, we are one human being. I mean, we're one humanity, you know? I don't know why I just
One
went off on that
consciousness, you could say.
tangent. Yes, I don't know why I went off on that tangent. Probably because it, doesn't need to happen. Yes, we are the one brain. And I'm going to end up having to dive really deep into it with my Toth revealed after we get through all the tablets, because that for me is really um it's one of the biggest lessons that is the most difficult for people to wrap their head around. The all is all.
What's
The one brain, the one consciousness. Um
and not just on a human level, but on a universal level.
yes, yes. And I think it's hard for people because, we see the
It's too
crappiness.
big.
We see
It's too
it's too
too
big.
big.
If that's the is that what it is? It's just too big?
It's too big. No one can fathom how big it really is. This is where the physics part comes into play. It's
I know.
huge.
I know. I love physics. Is that what it is that really holds people? Because I thought it was always like, because there's negative stuff out there. I mean, the archons and the reptilians and all that stuff that are the bad mamma jammas, right? Um,
Yeah, if you want to go down that hole, sure.
but they're a part of it as well, though.
Yes, they are.
So it's like they're part of the one brain, the all, you know, um, that I always thought that that was what tripped people up.
Would you say that then different dimensions,
Yeah.
different realities, different universes,
Hmm.
all of it is interconnected in one way, shape, or form.
Yeah. Yes.
But now how many people can conceive something being that big?
That's what it is.
So, in order to do that, us little humans make a little small little bell jar container in which we compile our entire lives on. Well, at least this is what I can speak of for my own past, because it was all about where I am in the center of everything else, and nothing else really matters.
Hmm. Hmm.
And if nothing else really matters, then why do I need to um why do I need to share with anyone else?
Right. And why do I need to go
But
bigger? Yeah.
and this is where, from my point of view, this is where I kind of can see that how long is that really going to help me in the long run? Not just of this life, but because I've become a little bit more conscious to other ideas and theory. How is that going to transfer on throughout the ages, and how is that going to transfer from one person to another? Since energy can't be destroyed, energy can be shared with other people and other beings as well. So yeah, I can hug a tree, but what's my purpose behind hugging that tree? Is it just the embrace of hugging a tree, or is it me sharing my entity, my being, my soul, basically, my energy with the energy of that tree and saying, hey, thanks for being here. It's all right. I'll see you the next time that I'm walking down this path again. Which one can it be? Like I said, it's so big that it can be very hard for us puny little humans to grasp.
I
Have I gone too far?
no, I'm actually taking this in you're helping me right now because this is why we're doing this, gays, and I'm cool with recording these conversations because I'm already there. Do you know how hard it is for me to get back to thoughts like that? So for me to go, oh, that's what people might be thinking. I mean, it's not going to register. It's just not going to. Um,
Maybe, but we've just brought up a concept that no one's ever heard before, possibly never heard before or thought of.
well, yeah. So I'm actually wrapping my head around. Okay, so how can I serve people to help them understand this better? That's where when you were talking, I was taking it all in. I'm like, okay. So I mean, it might be first, like literally breaking down every little component of the all.
Let, let,
But
let
then
me let me put it let me put it into really simple terms. Okay, I've had a couple of pictures on Facebook. Now, there's a photograph that I put up a couple different times about a library that's in Dublin, Ireland, that has like 8 different levels of just books. I mean, like 8 floors of just books and bookcases everywhere. And I mean, it's freaking huge.
yeah, I think I've seen that picture. Yeah.
How many people do you think have read all those books?
Oh,
See, now my idea of the Akashic records themselves, the halls are like that, only way bigger.
oh yeah. Well, yeah,
And for some
yeah.
reason,
I
I think they're
mean,
green, and I don't know why.
that's fine. The the the
I don't
Akashic
know. Not
record.
that it
No, that's
matters.
fine. I've heard people, legitimate people, tell me what they see, and it's like, oh, interesting. And that's what. So I guess maybe we'll end on this note. So when you're working with stuff like that, the Akashic, even your guides or angels, other beings, that kind of energy is always going to present itself to you the way that you can receive it the most comfortable,
That you associate with.
you associate. Because I mean, if it's good energy and it's trying to work with you, it's not gonna like be like, scary monster in your face. I mean, it's not gonna do that. We're gonna see angels the way they want us to see them. We're gonna see our guides the way they want us
The,
to see them.
the way that we can palette them best, I would
Yes,
say,
yes, there you go.
that
Good.
we can associate with.
Yeah, yeah. So with me, that well, or I've heard people refer to the records as like a city of crystals and like the Emerald City and
Oh, like
yeah,
Superman.
yeah, like Superman. Yeah, 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 yeah. That would not have been okay with me.
Okay,
I would have been like, yeah, that would not have been okay. Like, not at all. But for them, that knowing who they were, yeah, that would have worked perfectly fine for that person. Um,
right.
so for you, if you see green, um, that's a part of maybe you developing an opening to that stuff. Um, for me, I mean, I literally have a degree in like English. So, I mean, books are my love. So I was presented with like a library. Um, for me, it's kind of like a, how would you explain it? Kind of like an oval place that's just hovering in space, let's say. And then there is a big like iron gate around it. Because no matter who is working with the records, there is some kind of way to open it up and close it down. There's got to be some kind of imagery there. So for me, it is a big, like, black iron gate going around this place. And then if you get in, there's a nice, like, big courtyard. And
Well, when you get in,
when I get in, sorry, when I get in, there's a nice, thank you, sir. There's a nice big, like, courtyard, kind of garden. And then my library is pretty darn big. I mean, it kind of actually looks a little bit like the White House, kind of, with like pillars, big, stone building.
okay,
And when I walk in, it is a whole lot of like, yeah, those warm, rich woods, the cherry woods, the redwoods, big, you know, library chairs, desk chairs, and it's nice. I mean, and there are
okay.
multiple layers as well, or levels where stuff is and stuff's put away and all sorts of things. But I've also known people that saw it as like the classroom of their kindergarten, or not kindergarten, but their elementary school, or not the classroom, but the library at their elementary school. I mean, I've heard a lot of things. So for me, of course, who I am, it's kind of big and grand and rich, and candles are lit, like,
Right, right.
that's, yes,
Roman
Roman
architecture on the
architect.
outside with a
Yes,
Victorian interior.
yes, there you go. Yes. So of course for me it's like,
Got it.
yeah, you got Courtney, spot on. That's the best
Well,
part.
old English. I mean, yeah,
Yeah,
it's Victorian era was one of the better writing
yes.
eras
Yeah.
ish.
Oh, and even like, the
That's what you're
curved
into.
the curved staircases, and I mean not maybe
Oh
the
yeah,
spiral ones, but the nice curve to it is, yeah, it's a beautiful place. It's fun to hang out.
yeah. Not an
Um
angular line anywhere.
yeah,
Everything is
no. And
rounded.
not a
Wooden. The
crystal.
walls are encased wood, and there's chair rails and
Yeah,
huge sconces and
yeah, yeah. It's beautiful. Yeah.
just
Yeah, yeah. See, Gaza knows me, and not a crystal in sight. I mean, it's candles. It's
well, I
you
can
know,
envision it.
yeah. So for everyone, even your guides, you know, um, guides, not ancestors, and not guardians of your stories inside of the Akashic records. Um, Guides are going to present themselves. And I will also say, like when I do people's timeline cleanses, and I know we were going to end on this point, we have, um for us here on this plane, we have our soul, body, flame. That flame is that God spark. That's actually separate from your soul. Your soul is your consciousness. Your soul is your frequency level. um
Okay.
and then you have your body. Best tool, take care of your bodies, please. It is a great tool. um But when you start getting
Flame.
into like other dimensional stuff, that's, you have an aspect of yourself that is there. That is what I refer to as your essence. Rudolf Steiner, I can't remember what he called it. Like, you have your astral body and you have your ethereal body. So there are teachers that used to teach this stuff. So when I refer to essence, a person's essence, I am referring to other dimensional be you.
The ethereal body.
the ethereal body of
Ethereal meaning, just real quick.
To me, the best way to explain that is a dimensional aspect. Or a dimensional place, kind of like the astral is dimensional. Um, and I'm not a fan of the astral. Maybe we'll do that at a different time, as many people here probably know. I'm not a fan of it. It's a tricky place. And, thank God for David Icke for reminding people that everyone, all the ancients, even newer prophets, were saying, stay out of there. It's the land of the demons. It is. It's a tricky place. But yet, once again, Gaza, very popular to talk about the astral plane. And there's also different astral planes. I mean, there's different dimensions within you know what I'm saying?
What about the ethereal plane?
The best you can kind of picture it in your mind is go another level up. You got to get through the astral to get to the ethereal. You got to know how to get there.
Different atmosphere.
Different atmosphere, different
Got it.
consciousness. It's a different frequency. It's a different consciousness. It's a different frequency. That's where our timelines are. That's where the Akashic is. That's where we can create new planets. There's a lot that can go on up there. And unfortunately,
Sounds like a hell of a party.
And it's cute. It's so nice. Um, Unfortunately, people get to the astral because that's pretty damn easy. They want you to come because they really want you to get trapped, or they just want to mess with you. I mean, it'll present itself as a cool, happening place, good and loving, depending.
Vegas.
Like Vegas. It'll be like Vegas, or it'll even be like, oh, this is a lovely garden to walk around, and then all of a sudden, like your third time there, it's like, whoa, what was that jumping out of the bush right there? What was that? Or what is that over there?
Barking
And
spider.
here's a good tip. This is what we'll end on, Gaza. Good tip, guys. The astral. And remember, there's even multiple dimensions of astral, as there's multiple dimensions of earth. There's multiple dimensions of astral. The astral, if there is like a blue tint to what you're seeing, that's astral. If there possibly is a green tint, I know you said green, Gaza, but you might have been thinking something else as well. I'm pretty positive you were. If there's a green tint, you're in the astral. If there's like a yellowish tint, orangish tint, you're in the astral. So if you're in a place that it feels like you put blue blocker sunglasses on, either orange, green, or blue, you're in the astral. Period. It's not a good place to be. So, yeah, like how I look right now on this film, this is what the astral would look like more. So, I do want to put that out there as maybe that's the last tip of the night. And this was a great conversation. Thank you, Gaza.
No, thank you, Courtney.
Yeah, and everybody
Cleared up
listening.
a few subjects.
Yeah, we kind of were all over the place. I mean, the questions are never ending, the answers are never ending, and the wisdom and knowledge is definitely never ending. We learn that all the time in Emerald Tablets Revealed, that knowledge never stops, wisdom never stops, truth never stops. So we can just keep on rolling, folks. I love you all, you beautiful stars. Thank you, Gaza, for coming and helping me do this.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
So signing off, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this, and we are going to be back on Friday at 11 a.m. for Emerald Tablets Revealed. Namaste, beautifuls.